No. I was thinking that you talk to yourself in the shower.
Who doesn't?
No, but you like really talk to yourself in the shower. Like he makes stories up in the shower about cholos.
You have quirks about me that bothered you.
Oh yeah.
Tell the people.
Tell the people. So the first thing, it's not even a lot. Unless you have something I don't remember right now, but the biggest thing to this day, it baffles me. So you know staircases, that's how her dresser drawer looks all the time. Like I think it's physically impossible for her to know how to close a drawer back behind her.
I'm a morning person.
She's a morning person. I'm not. I stay up late. She doesn't.
I don't.
It's funny. We learned so much, and we took a premarital
And we didn't even
class.
know this
and we didn't
stuff
even go over this
about each other's.
Not even that. It could be drawers. It could be refrigerator doors. She's like, I'm coming right back. It's like, well, just close it when you leave. That frustrates me.
It drives me crazy.
It frustrates me. Right now, we go upstairs. All her drawers are open. No lie. It doesn't help.
I'm gonna go back in there at some point.
And it doesn't help that my side of the bed is right where her drawers are.
Yeah.
And so I was just bumping into it.
I've been trying to get better, but I'm in the struggle.
I always told her I played video games. She didn't know to what extent I played video games. She found that out the hard way.
Yeah.
I play video games. I love sports. Like, even to this day, we have kids, and I'm still like, hey, it's time to golf, basketball, do this. Like, can I get an hour here, an hour there? Like, it's part of life. She learned that, and we are polar opposites. Like, there's that dynamic where the guy's messy and the girl's cleaning, but we are next level. I'm next level messy. She's next level cleanliness. So it's like it is a crazy dynamic.
Like if there's no air circulation or something, she like freaks out. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? I never knew what the word stuffy or the phrase it's stuffy in here. I never really knew what that meant until she like always talked about it. But there always has to be some kind of air circulation. Like right now, she brought a fan so that she can have air blowing on her.
It's hot.
I'm not.
Her dresser drawers, her bathroom drawers, and if we didn't have baby locks on our kitchen cabinets and drawers, they'd be open right now.
Because Micah always thought she was cool, but she wasn't.
What? That doesn't even make any sense. I think that maybe Taylor said that he didn't even get my sense of, he didn't actually think that my sense of humor was funny until
She was
like
that goober funny, you know what I mean? Like the goober
way
funny.
later in our marriage.
Like where she's like, next thing you know, she's like dancing in the middle of the living room, like laughing to tears, you know, because she's making herself laugh, and I'm sitting there like,
True.
this isn't funny. Like this is, you're just dancing, you're in the TV, like you're just being ridiculous. And I was just like, Micah, like, I literally,
You
I
got
think
it.
the first year.
That's the thing. That was
like, I could have bought a
it.
calendar, and I think I would mark the day that she was actually funny. Probably been like 3 times.
That's it. The quirky thing, our quirkiest thing to get used to was that I was really funny and he didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Hey YSA, we're the Greers, and we're young, saved, and married.
My name is Micah,
And I'm Taylor.
and we are the Year 6.
So confident.
I got it this time.
So what actually happened?
I'll be like, I'm gonna get my worship
I don't know how many
on,
times I walk in the room, Micah's like, I'm praying.
My question. Okay. Who among us?
What the quality?
I'm just saying this is a new one. I haven't heard this one.
Or are you like, I need him?
Okay.
That is.
Okay. I'll do my perspective, and you can do your perspective.
Sounds good.
So, so as far as our story goes, we have grown up together. So there's like this little school out in Shafter, and it's called Maple School, and it's K through 8th, and there's like 30 kids in each class. So me and Taylor like went to that school all together, and he was 2 years older than me. And so we like carpooled, and so we've kind of always known each other. We went to the same church growing up. And then Taylor and his family moved away whenever he got a little older, and
8th grade.
yeah, we just lost touch. But we were just always like kind of like childhood friends as far as like knowing each other. Then he came back in town and he asked me out on a date, and he was obviously grown up and very handsome. And so I was like, yes, like I was like excited because like I've always kind of had a little bit of a crush on him. But then I just knew that, and I also like really did like want to like get like visit with him and like see how he's doing and like reconnect. But then like you know how it is, like whenever you're single, then it's like I don't know, I feel like it's like impossible to do that without the guy like really trying to make a move. And so I was knowing that he wasn't like really serving God, and I was like, I can't put myself in that position.
Well, at that point, I wasn't serving God at all.
Yeah, I was like, I know that I can't put, I know that it'd be hard for me, like, you know, because he's so hot. So I was like, just can't go on the date, sorry.
No, she didn't actually say can't go on the date. What happened was the date came and she stood me up. And so at that point, I was just like, whatever.
Okay, it was not like that.
She's going to be like that. She's going to be like that. And so I just moved on. It was like that. Don't sit here and try and lie, Micah, because it was like that.
It was not. Listen, this happens to everybody. Okay, tell me this. Is it standing someone up if you just didn't ever confirm the date, if you never texted them?
I said in the moment,
and
are we good
like
for this
way
day?
in advance.
You said yes, and I texted the day. I mean, but no, I texted like the day before, the day of, like just once. And never got a reply. So I was like, all right.
It's not like he was waiting at a restaurant by himself.
Still, we knew each other. We had history, Micah.
He was just waiting at home. He knew I wasn't going to show up.
All right. So anyway, so that happened. And then, so I'm just like, whatever. You know, she's kind of snobby anyway. She's a snobby Christian, whatever. So then,
oh yeah. So
short,
wait. Backstory. Like, so sometimes like he would like message me on Facebook, and I would be like, and we were like friends, and I knew that there was like things going on in this family and stuff, and I would be like legit like I'm praying for you, cause I like legit knew that there was things going on, and I was like actually like feeling like
and for me, I'm all strung out on drugs, you know, in this life, and Micah says I'm praying for you, and I'm just like, what do you mean you're praying for me? What is that supposed to mean? Like, you know,
so he really did think his perspective was that I was like being like holier than thou.
Yeah, like I need prayer,
snobby,
you know?
Or something.
So
we were both in the junior high ministry, and I was asking God like how to pursue and what it is He wants me to pursue, and it's funny because there's a lot of wrong choices in the ministry I was serving in. There's a lot of young, pretty girls, and I was young at the time, so obviously young, pretty girls seemed attractive to me. And one day at his little junior higher Bible study, I asked God, what is it that I'm looking for? And she's there in the corner praying. Like, and all these other girls, they were there hanging out with the girls, doing everything. But I saw her, and it was just her in a little corner, and she was praying. And God showed me, that's what you're looking for, a praying woman. And I remember that shook me, because what I was used to was looking for how good she looked, how she dressed, how fun was she, how, like all these things that seem like wonderful things, and they are big things in looking for a mate. But when he said a praying woman is what I need, that's when I started praying about, could it possibly be her? And but the funny part of our story is I was on fire for God this time, not to brag on me, but just brag on where God had me sold out to Him. I love God more than anything. When I say that, it means more than girls, because when I noticed that, okay, that's a praying woman, and I would go into the ministry and I kind of like her, and I go, oh no, that's the devil. That is the devil for sure. So like in my journal, I got her written down as a devil. She is the devil. I'm like, oh, it's trying to distract me from my calling. And lo and behold, she had me kind of in her little journal as the devil too. So it's crazy that was our first little thing that made us understand that, like, oh, maybe this is the right person, because we're both so scared that our liking of each other could take us off the right track.
So anyways, but then yeah, we come back, she's hot, you know, and you know, I'm like, hey, let's connect. She, you know, that whole thing happens. And then you know, I was going through back surgery at that point. I couldn't even really walk for about a year and a half, and I used to be very arrogant, and then God, you know, I think that was a way of stripping me, you know, from my arrogance and my kind of cockiness. It's hard to be cocky when you can't walk. So
we used to fight all the time whenever we were little, because he was so mean.
Yeah, I was the aggravator. She was the one who'd come in and put me in my place, but
Yeah.
So anyways,
So then he asked me out, and then that happened, and then on his own he gave his life to the Lord.
yeah, I went and got baptized. My hands were sweaty. I was freaking out, but I was like, it was real for me. It was a real decision. I knew this is the decision I wanted to make. I knew that if heaven and hell was for real, I was definitely going to hell because of my lifestyle, and there was no one to blame but myself, because the life I was living, I couldn't justify it as good in any way whatsoever. So I knew that if it was real, I was going to hell. And so I gave my life to the Lord, got baptized, and it was a real moment of going under. And when I came back up, you always have to say something, and I just said, it's time for a change. I came back up, and with God with me, I actually made that change. But I also prayed, and I said, God, there's no way I'm making this Christian life in my mind, this Christian life on my own. I will backslide. I'll go back into drugs. I will mess it up. You got to bring me a wife. And
so that part of our testimony is like a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I guess a lot of our testimony is like the mercy of God.
Yeah.
So like there's kind of like, I don't know, like I kind of had prayed like a similar prayer, but also I feel like that both of our prayers that we prayed, like they were very weak prayers. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like that wasn't necessarily like the strongest, like most Christian thing, like to pray like, God, I'm not going to be able to serve you on my own. And for me, I knew that I was called to be a missionary, and I was like, God, I know that like I'm not on the right track. Like I'm trying to do all these other things. Like I'm not brave enough to go on the mission field on my own. And I was like, God, like I'm not going to go unless you bring me a husband. And so for me, like that was almost like a disobedient kind of prayer, and even his was too, but it was just an honest prayer. And so that's a big part of our story, is that it's like the right heart towards God, but we weren't necessarily like perfectly on track, and there was super messy, and God was super merciful.
We tried to start this little junior high running thing, and I invited her and a few people out. We went on a run, and slowly that turned into us just walking and talking. And like everyone else disappeared. And so like
no one wanted to run.
No one wanted to run, but we would still show up and just walk and talk for hours. That was our dating.
Yeah.
We would walk and talk for hours around Stone Creek Park. We'd just walk all around those neighborhoods till late at night, and then she would go home and I'd go to my house. And we did that for a long time, and that was really our dating process. And we just were constantly praying and asking God, is this it? Because we were young and we did not know. Neither of us were ready for marriage, right?
No. Mm-hmm.
And but I wasn't dating anyone if it wasn't about marriage. Like, bottom line, I think she was the same way. Y'all let her share that, but she was done with playing around with men and like them not being serious. And I did. Once I got saved, so a little backstory, once I used to date and cheat on every girl that I had ever been with, and then I got saved, and I told God the next girl I date is going to be my wife. And cool thing is I held to that, and I didn't pursue or date until God said she was the one. Went after her and put a ring on it. Come on, somebody. That's my perspective. You can go ahead though.
Yeah. So where I was at was I was super on fire for God, or that saying, and I had a journal, and I had a list of like things that I really felt like I was praying over, and I just felt like God told me like don't settle, and my plan, I don't think it was God's plan, obviously, was to not date. I know it doesn't sound like that long, but for a year, because I was in a long-term relationship, and then I dated a couple guys, and I just needed like me and God time. And so that's why I was praying against him when we started like running together and talking more, because I got fearful of like him being a distraction, or not having that connection with God like I did. And so I was trying to like keep distance from him, but yet at the same time things kept getting confirmed in my journal. And so I was like, no, I don't want to be in a relationship, And we just had like really random weird confirmations. Like, I know it doesn't probably mean anything to other people,
about that one.
but
freedom to me. Give it to me cause I gotta get it. Give it to me cause I gotta get it. Give it to me cause I gotta get it. Give it to me cause I gotta get it. Give it to me cause I gotta get it. Give it to me cause I gotta get it. Give it to me cause I
About that one.
But at the time, I was really into like eating well and running. I run like 20 miles a week. I was eating really healthy, and so like at that time, I had a favorite fruit, and I like lived off of mangoes. I love mangoes so much, which is so random and weird. But we would ask each other like questions, and we'd go on our walks. And one of the weird things was like I would type out my answer on my phone before I asked him what his was.
Yeah.
And it was like I asked
All
him
the
what his.
same answers.
Literally, we had the same answers. Like, but it was like he was like reading my mind. But it was weird because I felt like it was just like the Lord confirming it over and over, you know.
So I had a list too, and it was very small. It had like things. I wanted someone who was tall. Like it was just a generic. I wanted someone tall because literally selfish sports reasons. I wanted kids that play sports. like I said, I'm really into this. But through my list, it changed as I grew in God, and it had like prayer warrior. It had to be serving and things like that. But I had this weird quirk on my list. It was so I have a brother. He lives in Sacramento, and from a little kid, I would go visit him, and I stayed at his house a couple times with my dad, and what I saw was my sister-in-law. She would come down before he woke up. He was in bed, and she would come down before he woke up. She puts all these fruits in a blender, blends it, and then she walked out the door. And I was sitting on the couch. I'm like, what is she doing? She left her smoothie. I wanted to eat the smoothie, but I'm like, what? Maybe she's gonna come back and get it. And then my brother comes down, pours the smoothie, puts it in the sink, and walks out the door. And I go, dang, she just does that for him. That's crazy. And I saw it happen a couple times. So I wrote in my journal. I wrote, she got to be down to make smoothies for me. I wrote that in my journal, and this is what's crazy. So like I said, I was way over radical at the time. I want to make sure that's clear because there's little things, and a lot of us Christians make this list, and sometimes you gotta make sure you let God make the list and leave room for Him to change some things. So I want to be careful with that. But I wasn't listening, and I was firm on this smoothie thing, and she had met every criteria, and I'm like, but how do I even know if she's gonna be the smoothie person? The day I say that, she texts me randomly, hey, would it be okay if I made you a smoothie before I run? And I go, you're dang right you can. little does she know I'm going nuts. Like I'm crying. I'm like, God, you're real. God, you're real. There's no it's so small and so random, but God, you're real, because I was just talking to you about this, and why does she randomly want to make me a smoothie before this run? And from that day forward, my praying out of I don't know changed to this is my wife, prepare us for marriage, get me. I wasn't employed at the time, and one of the things on my list was God. I have to be able to provide. I get offered a job that very same week.
The same week.
Hadn't been employed for a long time.
The job he's still at now.
The job at the church.
Good job.
It was God. It was God, and once I saw that it was God, and I'm stubborn, He had to show me a million miracles. But once I knew it was God, I was fully pursuing, eyes fixed on God and her.
Yeah. So God brought us back together, and Micah was trying to reach out to me because she's like, okay, he's new Christian. So her heart was, I'm just gonna be there for him in his Christian walk, in the beginning. And so her mom,
like, hey.
Her mom actually said, Taylor, would you go with Micah, pick her brothers up? It's kind of a dangerous area, which it's not. I think her mom actually hooked us up a little bit. But anyway, so we go, and then we just hung out every day since. And I tried making moves on her, but she kept shutting me down. And eventually, it was just like got to the point where I think that's the big thing about our relationship in the very beginning was, and for those couples out there that are kind of in a Christian relationship, is you have to be openly communicating. Communication is always, my wife, from the very beginning, she was always like, no sex, no this, no this, no this. I mean, there's points where she's like, I don't want to marry you. I just don't want to be with you. And it was like it was just crazy. That's why we say
Okay,
mercy
I was
of
gonna say I
God.
think that we're the terrible at communication, like the worst. Like I don't even know, like
Yeah, we're speaking from experience of doing it wrong.
yeah, we did it wrong.
You know, so it's like from now we could say, man, if we would have had better communication,
Yeah.
and you know stuff like that, it would have definitely been a lot easier on us. But you know, God's mercy is so good. But definitely, you know, I don't want to lean on that mercy because if we would have done it differently, it would have been a lot smoother.
Easier in the marriage or first year.
Yeah. Whoever says the first year is just the honeymoon, you're lying, because that first year was tough. It was.
Yeah.
So
So we got married.
In terms of marriage, you think the way you grow up is your norm. And we kind of talked about it in marriage counseling, but once you're in it, you start seeing like, that's what they meant.
Yes.
Like,
It's totally different.
Like, I can't stand that.
Yeah. I mean, talking about it and living it are two totally different things. So talking about, oh, this is how I like to keep my house. This is how often I do the laundry. This is how, it's one thing to talk about it, but then it's another thing to live it with someone else. It's totally different.
Yeah.
So I feel like absolutely those expectations were so false, you know, like from what I had. And then coming into the marriage, when we first got married at that time, Lawrence had a job where he was home. He would be home. He went to work later than me. So he was home when I left for work, and then I would come home for lunch, and he would sometimes come home for lunch as well. So he would be there. And then he got off before me, so he would be home when I got home. And I would come home like, oh my, you're still here. Like, you're always here.
You're welcome.
That was like something that, you know, we knew. You know that going in, you're moving in with somebody, you know, you're marrying them, but the reality of like somebody else is always in your space is very real when somebody else is always in your space. And you want to have your own space, and you're used to having your own space.
And another thing is that, see, I grew up with
This is true.
2 sisters, a mom, and a 2-bedroom house. So I'm used to being around women all the time. I'm just used to that. She
And
pretty
being
much
in very much close proximity.
Yeah. And so she's not so much. She had her own bed, her own room since she was born. That's just rare. And so she's not used to sharing space, and I am. And so I think that was a really big clash, because like you said, I was like really shocked for her because she's always had her own space. And so for me, I'm used to sharing, like whether it be food, you know, growing up just sharing 5 people sharing one bathroom. I'm used to sharing space and doing all that stuff, communicating who's gonna do what and this that, and the other. And so it was different. It was different.
Hard for me.
So like my norm was not her norm, and then so we had to make our own type of norm, and that process of synergy of just
That's
coming
the
to
becoming
one.
one.
Yeah, that's the one
That's
issue.
the oneness.
Yeah, and also you have to kind of challenge your beliefs and what your norm is, because you think your way is the right way, and she thinks her way is the right way, and then we have to reestablish, no, this is what is going to work for us going forward. So,
My world, I'm with people all day, and with dealing with very deep issues, suicidal kids, marriage problems, and I come home trying not to carry that, and I come home to a wife who's been with the kids all day, and she wants bubbly husband, and I got stuff on my shoulders, and
Yeah, it was really dramatic fights in the beginning, I feel like. Now it's like if I ask him to help me with laundry at 10 p.m.
oh yes, these are our most recent dumb fights. So it will be like we'll have a day. Oh, I'm gonna get you right now. It's gonna make me look bad
This
too.
is gonna be another argument tonight.
The whole world's gonna be like, he should just pick up his clothes. But I don't care. This is how it goes down. This is what happens. Like it'll be we'll have like a 3-hour period, and we'll be chilling, and then it gets to like wind down time, and I get to my couch spot, nice and juicy, and it's time to wind down, and now she decides that it's spring cleaning completely.
That's the
like
best
the
time
whole
to clean.
house. Like let's do everything. I'm like, wait,
You're so dramatic.
we had daytime.
I
to
work
do
all day
this.
and I'm with the kids all day.
Oh, they could have helped us, but no, we'll get. That's probably the last small things that are really all I needed to do was go back there and help her with some laundry, and it became the dumbest little argument ever. And we have to just. It's just funny because we both kind of look at each other like, "Are you done being mad yet? Because this is dumb." And then we're done.
Yeah.
So there's just dynamics, but it's crazy how over the years. So in the beginning, those flare up into full-on arguments, like clean up, do this, don't talk to me, do that. They turn into arguments, and as we've gone along, it's crazy. Through God, through prayer, that it's not that so much anymore. Not that we're perfect. Our arguments happen. We're husband and wife, but like it's funny to see how as you go along, you learn from each other, and you learn to accept each other for exactly who they are. And I think that's the most beautiful part about marriage is you find someone who sees the worst of you, not the best of you. They see the worst of you, and they still go, I'm in this for the long haul. And that's love. That's love.
Yeah.
Tell the other one what you think God would want them to know in this season.
That's good.
You are enough. You are amazing. You've got this.
What's up, YSA? Are you or do you know a young, saved, and married couple with an awesome testimony who would love to tell their story? Are you or they in Central or Southern California? Well, if so, email YoungSavedAnd@gmail.com and tell us about it to possibly be our newest additions to our new series, Young, Saved, and Married. Young Saved and would like to give a special thank you to the founders of Pioneer Peru, the Year 6, for sharing their story. If you are interested or God has called you to be a missionary, specifically in the Amazon, please feel free to visit their website in the description below.